But the biggest thing I want to also say is like you've got to know your ethical compass. What are to a point where you are willing to walk away from the opportunity or walk away from the numbers.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Why you going again to the entrepreneurship nightmare when you don't really even need to. You already exit your first company. What are you back? You should be on the beach, enjoying the sun, having mojito.
I think it's in our DNA. I think it's in entrepreneurs' DNA that you just always have these ideas or you're always asked to lead something. People look at you as having a successful exit and they want to invite you to something else. And so I probably would never work for corporate America. I just cannot have a boss. Like I cannot, I cannot. I've done that once before for a number of years and I can't be in that. So I will always do something entrepreneurial. But my desire is to more move into like the investor standpoint. And I kind of am an investor. Like I'm invested in a couple of hotels. I'm obviously invested in Rely AI, etc. So I'm going to move towards the investor because then there's still an entrepreneurial spirit around that. And then also continue my philanthropic efforts. I believe that to whom much is given, much is required. I believe we have to give back into the communities in which we live, work, and serve. And I've all grew up, my dad was a minister, so I grew up as a preacher's kid. So I've always had that kind of give back attitude. Even with the leading niche, we dedicate 10% of our net profits to different 501c3s, depending on if they're aligned. A lot of it we to 501c3s where our employees volunteer, so that way they can, present checks and kind of volunteer and help out there. So I'll always do something entrepreneurial, but it will not be working for a corporation no matter how much they offer me. But it'll definitely be investor. And then I hope to sit on some paid corporate boards too as well.
Okay, so what advice do you have then to the women and to the female maids, corporate and employee that they are listening to this podcast? They're thinking, "Oh, I wish that I have the courage of Tamara. I wish that I can leave my job and leave and be the boss. Then I can fill the calendar, my own calendar, and I do whatever I want, without knowing." That if you're in corporate America, somebody can come to you and say, "Can you do this?" You can tell, "Look, I'm sorry, this is not my job." But when you are in the net, everything is your job. So tell us but you have done the transition from corporate to entrepreneur. So can you tell our listeners that want to do this transition, what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of that transition? Because everybody always look the nice part. Oh, look at her. She had the business. She's the boss. Now she has an exit. And wow, I want to do that. And the dynamic is completely different to being an employee, right? Right, and being an entrepreneur. At least I know I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years,
Yeah.
And when you make a mistake, you pay with your pocket. Yeah. And, and for me, I'm very stubborn. I only learn when I lose one. So I know a lot of things.
Yeah.
You can't imagine, how many mistakes I've done in my life. So
Yeah.
tell us,
No,
so message do you have for people in corporate that want to want the good things, good, the bad, and the
the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the first thing I want to say, and Harry, you mentioned this, is I still don't control my own calendar. Like I didn't in corporate and I don't now. In fact, I don't even touch it. I have a wonderful superhero, Michaela. If you're out there, thank you for everything. She is my boss. I don't touch my calendar. I go where she tells me to go. And so I don't have control of that. I have another friend who came to me because it was another female who wanted to start her own company. She left corporate America. Someone told her that she was great. She quit And within 2 months, she called me crying because bills still have to be paid. There has to be a strategy. The the good is you do have a level of independence and you can build wealth very quickly if you do it the right way and it's profitable. Again, not revenue focused, I'm very profit focused. You can build legacy, like generational wealth, and that's exciting because you are confined to a salary. Although there are some corporations that allow you to be an entrepreneur. So therefore, you have the great salary, you have the great bonus, you invest it, and you have freedom over your budget and your business, etc. So there's that. So if
Yeah,
you're a
you
little
can be, Tamara, sorry to interrupt you because I like this concept a lot. You can be an entrepreneur
sure.
inside if the corporation allows you to do this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in many ways, it's not even like they know it, but if you have a great, leadership that you're reporting into and they allow you to control your budget and do all of that, then that's there. And then it's less risk because the risk is on the company. You could lose your job if you don't do well, or in period. So that's the good thing about being an entrepreneur, even an entrepreneur. Like, you do have the freedom to create. Nobody can stop me from building what I want to build. I can go after it, I can do it. And I believe that what I hunt and kill, I can have. That's what I believe. I believe that I was created to be an entrepreneur and to employ. The bad is the risk is on me. I have a number of employees that twice a month depend on me for their life. We've never missed a payroll. We've never been late for a payroll. I take a lot of pride in that. I have people that have started companies. They have missed payroll. Like, how devastating is that? I actually was riding with a woman one day from an event, and she was calling one bank and calling another one and trying to move money around. And all I could think about was those poor employees. And I have somebody that they asked me to mentor once. I couldn't believe it. She paid herself before she paid her employees. Honestly, I couldn't mentor her any further because there were many years that I didn't pay myself. Everybody else was paid at the end of the year. What was left over, I got. That is the bad of it. So you better make sure that if you want to be an entrepreneur, guess what? The bills don't stop. The family obligations don't stop. You might have to change your lifestyle. There is a commitment to that. Fortunately for me, I work for a consulting firm. I was on the road 99% of the time. So I was able to save a lot of money, but that's not everybody's story. If I'm honest, and I don't think I've ever admitted this anywhere else, I calculated if all went bust, everything, I was going to move at home with my parents, and I still had 3.5 years to live at the same lifestyle I had before. But I hustled. I was eating ramen noodles forever, so that I could do that. And then the ugly is it can be a very lonely journey. You can't, necessarily talk to my family about some issue that I'm having because it could be a financial issue in terms of profitability. And then they're nervous, right? And then sometimes you don't know who you
Oh,
can
the
trust.
entrepreneur side, my family, no one is an entrepreneur. Just my brother, just after me, and to
Yeah,
whom you talk to. Yeah,
yeah.
every time that I talk with my dad about business, he talked to me about politics.
Right.
So, so then he loved politics. He always talking about politics. But when I have a problem, I said, "Hey, look, I have this business problem, blah blah." Very he switch off, right? Because on a business before, he doesn't want to know anything about it. He's not interested. It's not his thing. So, and probably the family, friends, people that you study in the school, it's very difficult. That's why one of the main reasons that we do this podcast because brilliant people like you show up and then uh, make my day and the day especially for our audience, right? Because
Yeah.
we only same book. This podcast
Yeah.
is only for entrepreneurs and only entrepreneurs, people that want to be entrepreneurs, people that are in corporate that want to become entrepreneurs. The only people to listen to this. Nobody.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
a is a for us to empower ourselves and I see I can tell you successful is because of the drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically the character. But this it comes with a lot of passion, and also try and never, right? There is certainty, okay, that somehow it's gonna work, and you have to keep believing and believing.
Yeah, you
And,
have to believe it.
and
And I
things
believe you
change
have,
and change and change, and you, oh my God. Uh, I tell you how many businesses I have that they were doing amazing, and all of a sudden, COVID happened, anything happened, and you're like, wow, how this change and change. And then I'm thinking, why my businesses are the only one that changed so drastically? You know what I mean? Now you are okay, and after 2, 3 days, and after 2, 3 years, the whole industry changed, and the whole thing changed so fast. And I had to de-escalate because at the end of the day, we were big enough and things like that happened to me several times. So
yeah.
well, somehow I survived 18 years, I've been a very interesting roller coaster journey, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I can feel
Uh,
it. I can
I
feel it.
won't change, I won't change it for anything. I really love it. But it's all matter that we always with a problem that we have to solve. Okay,
Always.
and it's always a problem that we have to solve. That I always said, if we solve that problem, it will solve the rest of the problems. And dealing and battling to solve this problem keep us in it. So, what's the last message that you have for entrepreneurs out there, female entrepreneurs, that they're having hard time, that they are stuck, that they are working day and night, wearing all the hats, things are not working, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah. So my advice has a few parts to it. The first is, it goes back to what I said earlier. If not you, then who? Who's going to do it? And you're going to have days where you're going to feel people are saying you're not good enough, and you have all these decisions. I don't know what the game is, but it's like you have the thing, you keep popping the little rabbit that keeps coming up. You solve one thing, something else comes down. So you got to find your happiness. Like, you have to find your passion. I can't speak to this. You have to be passionate about your idea or what you want to do, because there are many hard nights. There are many times of tears. There are many times where people whom you trust will break your trust, and you have to go back into your soul and figure out why you're doing it. Like, what's the why you're doing it? And that's very, very important. Another piece of advice I would be is to find your champions, your mentors. As an entrepreneur, those are just as important. I had a meeting today. I'm in an organization called YPO. It's a Young Presidents Organization. We meet monthly. And somebody gave me a personal experience that opened up my mind. I would have never thought, I would have eventually gotten there, but it might have been 3 years. If I didn't have that network of other fellow entrepreneurs that I could tap into, then it would probably be a lot more expensive and a lot more time. And then the last piece of advice, because we talk about a lot, listen to all of, podcasts, you'll get all the good, juicy advice. But the biggest thing I want to also say is, like, you've got to know your ethical compass. What are to a point where you are willing to walk away from the opportunity or walk away from the numbers. And me in federal contracting, it is one of the largest opportunities for contracting. And you, even on the corporate side, you have to be able to walk away. And there was one big opportunity that I wanted so badly, but at the end, the person I was having a conversation with said something that just made it just sick inside.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.